Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you the final part of our Week 14 fantasy football starts and sits. We're here to help you make all the right decisions on who should be in your lineup, who you need to sit, and who's going to break your heart if you get it wrong. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right meow.
And boom goes the dynamite. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin. That is Kyle. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. Today we are giving you our second part of our start sit questions for Week 14, the first week of the playoffs. If you want to check out, you definitely want to check out our first part, which is in the link right there where he's pointing, also in the description below. You're going to want to check out our top start streamers and fades for this week 14 as well. That's down there in the description as well. So right before we get into what else we got, Kyle?
Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell. We drop 5 episodes a week so we can help you get to that championship. If you've been watching, we helped you get to the playoffs, hopefully. So, hey, we're always asking the question. Do you need assistance? And that's because we're here to help. If you've got a start sit question, feel free to drop that question down below and we will try to answer it before the games start this weekend. If you get them in about a half hour before the games start, we may not be able to get to it. We both have kids, life, things happen. All right. So let's talk about these matchups. Let's dive in headfirst into the shallow end and get going on it. First one we have, Justin, we've got Indianapolis at Las Vegas. What do you have on Indianapolis?
All right. Phillip Rivers, he made, I believe, our streamer of our top start streamers and fades. So he definitely made our streamer for quarterback. He is a good 2 QB or super flex start. So if you need to start him in a pinch, if you have some injuries or something like that, it's one of those things where you could do worse. Kind of worried about who's going to be playing left tackle for the Colts, but that's something. He's still getting the ball out pretty quick. But Jonathan Taylor for running back, he is a solid running back too. Welcome back to getting the touches. This guy needs to provide fantasy value. Nyheim Hines has definitely taken a step back when it comes to some of that production and some of the touches. So I think he still has some PPR flex value, but that's about it. When it comes to wide receivers, I still like Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, he could still bring you some wide receiver 3 value. He's had a couple duds since it was more of a breakout. I want to put that in quotes there. But T.Y. Hilton, is he back? I don't know. He hasn't done it all year, so I wouldn't feel confident. I mean, he had a 11 targets, 8 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown, but I just couldn't feel confident starting him as your first week of the playoffs. So, hey, you can if you have the bye. If you listen to us, you got the bye. Go ahead, see what happens.
Yep. All right, so Las Vegas Raiders, we've got Derek Carr. He's a super flex or 2 QB only play. They're allowing third least or third most, I guess. No, it's third least fantasy points to the QB. Indianapolis is, so this is a tough matchup. Josh Jacobs, you can start if he practices by the end of the week, but you got to keep an eye on that. Devontae Booker, only a start if Josh Jacobs is out, and that isn't going to get you a ton anyway. So, try to avoid that if you can. Henry Ruggs is TD dependent this week. And Nelson Aguilar, he's been a huge focal point of this offense. If you've been paying attention, we've been throwing his name around for a while here, the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. We've been talking about the fact that he's actually been very consistently a solid producer in that offense, somebody that you could rely on. He provides a good floor. He's not great at blowing up in a game, but he's done well. If Jacobs is healthy, then I don't think you're going to see as much coverage against Nelson Aguilar, and his value goes higher, I think, then. So if Jacobs is in, I think Aguilar is actually a play then. Darren Waller is a start, but you got to be very worried. He could blank you this week. He's actually in our fades this week, so watch out for that. All right, let's move on here. We've got Washington football team at the San Francisco 49ers. All right, so Alex Smith, this is not a terrible matchup, but he's merely an efficiency play. So Superflex and 2 QB is a go. J.D. McKissick is a PPR flex play in a tough matchup. His value goes up a little bit if Gibson misses, but still probably only a flex play there. I don't think that Antonio Gibson is going to play. I'm not sure. It's looking like a turf toe type of deal, and that's weak.
That's not. Yeah.
That's weeks. He might be out for the playoffs then. And if you rode him to the playoffs the last few weeks, your team's in a lot of trouble probably.
Sorry,
So
Jared.
yeah. Terry McLaurin, start your studs, throw him out there. Dude has been a producer all year. He's, I think, a wide receiver 1 in all formats this year right now, as far as season long production. And given his QB play, that's kind of surprising.
That's
Yeah,
impressive.
it is very impressive. And then Logan Thomas, surprisingly solid this year. And Alex Smith seems to favor him. So as long as Alex Smith stays the QB there, yeah, I'd say keep firing up Logan Thomas. I've got him in another league. He's in one of my flex spots. He's been there, and hey, it's paid off quite well.
Right?
Yeah. All right. What do you have on the 49ers?
Don't have too much, Kyle. Raheem Mostert is a decent flex play. They've really kind of limited his touches since his return, which made sense. He's been in and out of lineup a couple times this year. Jeff Wilson Jr. is actually kind of a sneaky flex play in like a deep league. I mean, because he's actually splitting the backfield with Mostert right now. Wide receivers, Deebo Samuel and Deebo Samuel 2.0, also known as Brandon Ayuk.
Wait. Here we go. We got Deebo and Deebo, right?
Yeah.
Deebo and Deebo 2.0.
I like both of them. So Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, they're solid wide receiver twos, even with Nick Mullins throwing the ball. Jordan Reed, he's a decent tight end streamer, but man, I've really wanted Jordan Reed just to be able to come back and play. He's running a lot of routes, but that's the fault of having a terrible quarterback is the guy just can't hit him. So
yeah,
that's if you have to, you have to, but look elsewhere. But looks like next matchup, we have the New Orleans Saints against the Philadelphia Eagles. What you got on the Saints?
Taysom Hill, you could start him, but look, eventually the fun is going to come to an end, and teams are going to focus on making him actually throw the ball. That's what they did with Tim Tebow, which is who Taysom Hill is. Might even be less accurate. I don't know. Alvin Kamara, we don't know because he only throws 12 to 14 times a game. Alvin Kamara, obviously you're going to start him. You're probably going to regret it because he's kind of turned into a TD dependent running back. His value is strictly tied to his touchdown production. This last week, he finished as running back 11, I think, on average. And that was because he had a touchdown. If it weren't for that touchdown, the dude was outside of a running back starter. He was not a running back starter last week then. Latavius Murray is actually getting red zone opportunities ahead of Alvin Kamara. Not that it matters because Taysom Hill is just Cam Newton with less throwing. So there's not really enough to rely on with Latavius Murray. So I would say maybe a flex in a deep flex league or like a multi-flex league. Michael Thomas, he's a stud, but without Breeze, he's only really a flex value when you think about it. You can start him there. You're looking at a wide receiver 4 or better slightly, depending on if he's able to break some tackles and get something moving. But there's just not enough passes in this offense to go around with Taysom Hill at the helm to really rely on anything in that passing game. And even then, he still kills Alvin Kamara's value. So it's like basically they took this entire offense that had juggernauts everywhere and said, no, we just want to have one guy who's worth starting in fantasy football, and his name's Taysom Hill. That's it. That's all. So
that's Sean Payton's guy.
Yeah. What do you got on the Eagles?
The Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Hey, you get your first start. Welcome to the league. Now play the Saints, who give up the 6th fewest points to quarterback. So I do like his dual threat potential, so that could give him a decent floor. But I'm looking at him as a 2 QB or a super flex start only. I just
want to say one thing though.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz last week, he was in our fades episode, and we said that you should not play this dude, and he should get benched. He got benched.
Guess what?
Yeah.
It was our doing.
It was.
Yeah. We did that.
Yeah, I called up Doug Peterson. I said, "Hey, Doug, during the game, can Dougie P? He's related to Eddie P. He's on the hot seat now too. So yeah, just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I got you. I know we were doing starts, basically only talking about him, but I'm actually sitting a guy that hasn't probably been set all year long, and that's Miles Sanders. Where'd you go, bro? Where did you go?
He went where he was. He went where he was half of the year last year as well. That's where he went.
Yeah, talk about overrated, man. The only guy that I say truly a startable player is Dallas Goedert. So that's the only guy that's actually put in consistent value in at tight end. I mean, I'm hoping Jalen Hurts is going to look his way. I think he still does. It still did last week. So that's why I got Goddard as a start.
All right. So let's move on here. We've got Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons at the LA Chargers. Matt Ryan is a start. This is not a bad matchup, but he needs a healthy running game to kind of deflect some of the attention away from him. That's a little bit problematic when you consider he's got Todd Gurley in the backfield and he's questionable. That's right. He's listed as questionable right now to play. He's got a knee injury and he's already got knee issues. He's got what they call geriatric knees. Their term, not ours. So if he plays, he's only a flex value really, but that helps the passing game a little bit. Ito Smith, not a start if Gurley is out. He's got a head injury. They're just calling it a head injury. I don't know what that means. Brian Hill, don't even play if Gurley is out. So basically avoid this running game just at all costs. Avoid this running game. Julio Jones is facing a tough matchup, but he's not on the injury report. There you go. He's not on the injury report. Calvin Ridley, same tough matchup, also not on the injury report. That's kind of a little bit of an issue this season. Hayden Hurst back in tight end 1 this week based on the matchup. The defense is allowing the 7th most fantasy points to the tight end this year. So if anything's going to get going, it's probably going to go through tight end first. And he's been a solid start the last several weeks. When he's not disappeared, he's done really well. He's a little bit less touchdown dependent than most tight ends. And so I think you can rely on him to at least provide you a solid floor and hope for upside with a touchdown.
Yep.
I can't hope for more in tight end this year.
No, you really can't.
All right. So the Chargers, what do you have?
Justin Herbert. This is the matchup you need after playing a terrible game against the Patriots. So I think he's going to get a get-right game. He's going to be finished as a quarterback 1 or not number 1 in this whole week, but you get it. Yeah. Austin Eckler, temper your expectations. I mean, he's still startable. I would prefer him in the flex. If you could start this guy in the flex, that means your other running backs are pretty good. So, but when it comes to wide receivers, Keenan Allen, how many targets is he going to see in this game? I'm going to say probably 10 plus, and he'll get you about 8 catches, 80 yards, and maybe a touchdown, because that's what we usually say. He stops about 80 yards. Yep. Mike Williams is only a desperation wide receiver 3, even in this matchup where they're probably going to have a shootout. It's just so unpredictable with him. Hunter Henry, I mean, he had a terrible game just like everybody else did against the Patriots last week. So I know they're looking at a bounce back game, but with his talent, he could still finish as a top 8, tight end, because he's done it a few times this year. And this would be a game that he could do it against the Falcons. So that's all I got on them. But all right, here we go. This is your favorite one. We got the Green Bay Packers against the Detroit Lions.
Yep. All right, here we go. All right, so Aaron Rodgers, this is a great matchup against a defense that's in total disarray, right? They lost their scion, their North Star, their guiding light, and in Matt Patricia, right? Because he was leading them so well beforehand.
Such a great leader of men.
Yeah.
So well respected in that locker room.
I remember seeing stories during his first season when it was getting to be wintertime, and he was making them practice outdoors in the snow in December, and he was wearing shorts. He was like that
freaking dome.
Yeah, it's like, you play in a dome, dude. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Yeah, they were practicing for a dome game at home. And he was making them practice outside, and he's wearing shorts to basically prove a point. He's like, I read an article one time about 12-year-old boys who wear shorts in the winter, wear them all year round, and how it's the weirdest thing that exists, but it exists. And I'm like, Matt Patricia, he exists. That's right.
He just exists now.
Yeah. He's going to have some sort of pseudonym and make comments down below. It's going to be like Eddie P 2.0 or something. He's going to make comments down below on us just talking smack.
Gosh, I hope so.
Yeah, that would be great. Aaron Jones, this is the best matchup of the week at running back, in my opinion. And why? Because Detroit is the worst. against the running back this year. That's right. Start your studs. Aaron Jones is going to kill them. He did it earlier this year. I think he had 3 touchdowns and he had like 169 yards on the ground alone. And one of those touchdowns was through the air. So he had some air yards. Jamal Williams, he's got flex value based on the matchup. So he's got extra upside because of the matchup. They're using him a little bit more as the season goes on because they want to get a little bit less tread worn off on Aaron Jones. And so they're giving him some red zone carries actually too. This could be a blowout. And if that happens, you might also get junk time yardage out of Jamal Williams where they're trying to close it down, close the game out. Because he's actually a hard runner. He's just kind of slow. He's been a little bit faster this year. Devontae Adams, start your studs. You weren't going to sit him. Come on. Alan Lazard, great matchup to try to capitalize, throw him out there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a flex value. Too many drops, though, in the last couple games here to stay on Aaron Rodgers' good side. So I have concerns about how many opportunities he's going to get. Robert Tonyan, this is actually not a great matchup. Temper your expectations. He's going to kind of be touchdown dependent this week. So, yeah, but he does get a little bit more of the focus in the passing game at tight end this week because Jace Sternberger is in the concussion protocol. So,
gotcha.
There we go.
All right, Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford is he'd be a decent 2 QB or super flex start only, in my opinion, because this could turn out into a shootout. But the Packers defense has been playing a little bit better. Adrian Peterson, I would start in the flex if Swift is not playing. Once again, DeAndre Swift is limited in practice. He still has that mysterious illness that they have not really mentioned anything about. So
it's COVID-20.
It could be.
It's the next COVID.
It's the next one. He's just ahead of his time. Yeah. So if DeAndre Swift misses the game, even if he does play, I wouldn't feel confident starting any running back in this if he does play. So, but when it comes to wide receiver, Marvin Jones, man, he's got 12 targets in back-to-back games. He had a really good game last week against the Bears, I believe. So, I mean, Galladay looks like he might be out again. He's not even practicing. So, but I would still temper your expectations with Marvin Jones because of he could get the Jair Alexander treatment. That's not a good treatment to be on. This is a guy I want you to just keep in mind. Quintez Cephas, grab this guy if he's available. This is not a great matchup for this week, but the next two are very solid for wide receivers. So definitely take a look at that. TJ Hawkinson, you're going to start him because this guy's turned into a top 5 tight end. You know, he has all the talent in the world. He was a number 8 pick in the real draft. So why not? So that's, I would definitely feel confident starting TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah. Hercules. All right, let's move on here. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger. This is a good matchup, but his average depth of target is terrible. I think it's actually the lowest in the league. And that's saying something considering Alex Smith is still playing. And then you've got James Conner. He's on the IR/COVID list, but he's hopeful to play against Buffalo. So start if he is active. Benny Snell's a flex. If James Conner misses, that's the only
reason. Then, man, he has not looked good.
But I mean, neither has Anthony McFarland Jr.
Exactly.
So up a creek there, right? Yeah. Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, you're starting both of them because they get volume. They're not in a great matchup, but that's the reason you're still throwing them out there. And then I'm sorry, did I say Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and then Eric Ebron? Yep. He's getting targets. Matchup is good. So I would start him, actually. I think that he's a play this week. He has potential to finish inside of the tight end 1 category.
All right. I'm off the same train that you're off of. Everybody sit Juju. Just do it.
Yep.
You'll be happy for it. All right. For the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, he actually made our fades of the week when it comes to quarterback. You just want to temper your expectations. I don't think he's going to do what he just did to the 49ers that he's going to do to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think it could still finish as a QB1, but it's going to be a low-end quarterback 1.
Depends on which Josh Allen we see. We might see interception Josh Allen, you know.
You might see strip sack Josh Allen. You might see Mose running around.
Yeah, you might see Robbie Amell Josh Allen.
There you go. You gotta fire that.
Snap it back like you're getting a rubber band pull.
But all right, for nothing in running back room, but Stephon Diggs at wide receiver, you're gonna start your studs, man. This guy is been lights out.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley. I mean, if this guy gets 10 plus targets again, I think he's a great start in PPR leagues. I mean, I would have to fade him a little bit in standard scoring leagues, but
the one thing I do want to toss out there,
yeah,
I just wanted to say something. Stephon Diggs, we talk about DK Metcalf possibly being wide receiver 1 next year. Stephon Diggs is in the conversation as well. So absolutely. I would say these are guys that you need to consider next year in the back of the first round draft pick in standard redraft.
Yep.
All right. Is that it? That's all you got, right?
No, we got Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns. So why don't you go ahead and hit me with the Ravens?
All right. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson is a start, but be careful because this is a defense that is built to handle Lamar's type of game. Imagine that. It's a division game. They're going to try to make him sit in the pocket and throw the ball, which has not been Lamar's it's not been his key to success this year. A lot more teams are forcing him into that situation, and it is exposing his lack of accuracy to some extent. He's gotten better every year, except for this year as far as accuracy goes. And so that's why you and I were both actually, I remember during our draft last year, we both were very surprised to see Lamar Jackson on the board very late. Both of us still had QBs already, and we're like, and then somebody grabbed him right before we got the chance. Yeah. J.K. Dobbins is a running back 2 flex value, but that's about it. Marquise Hollywood Brown he's got a decent matchup, but he's likely just touchdown dependent. I think that we could probably cut the Hollywood stuff out, right? And just start calling him Marquise Antonio Brown's cousin Brown. And then Mark Andrews, he was activated from the COVID list actually. And so this is a great matchup, and he could be Lamar's bailout here. If he does have to sit in the pocket and throw, it might be a Mark Andrews type of day.
Yeah, so absolutely.
All right. What do you got on Cleveland?
For the Browns, Baker Mayfield, I mean, is he your ride and die for the playoffs? I mean, that's the only reason I think you start him this week. So even though he has improved quite a bit the last few weeks, I just don't know if you can trust him in this matchup. But like I said, if that's the only guy you got, you're going to start him. So decent 2 QB or super flex start. Nick Chubb, dude's a stud, man. Dude's an absolute stud. This guy could be the number 1 running back next year. And that's even with Kareem Hunt most likely being on the team next year because he's under contract. But Kareem Hunt, these last few weeks, ever since Nick Chubb has come back, he's just turned into a flex play at this point.
I wonder if age is finally catching up with him. The one thing I got to say about Chubb is, though, he's got to stay healthy. He's kind of got he's got that history that Dalvin Cook had. At this
he tore
point,
an
right?
ACL.
He can't stay healthy. Yeah, that sort of thing. And Cook turned it around. Chubb he's got to be able to stay on the field. He's not able to do it so far. So
I think it was rookie year he was pretty healthy, I believe. But this year he has not been able to. But when it comes to wide receivers, Jarvis Landry, I mean, he's getting the targets to be reliable. He's had 10 and 11 in the last 2 games. So I'd say start him. And this guy you've been pounding the table for is Rashard Higgins. I mean, this is not a great matchup, but Baker's been playing well, and he is the second option at wide receiver in this offense, so you could do worse, but I might be looking for him, starting him next week. But if you have to. That's what I got for the Browns.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the first week of the playoffs, week 14. That's all the episodes we've got. Hopefully, we see you in the semifinals and can give you a hand next week, getting you to that championship. So make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so you're notified as we upload those episodes next week. We're going to throw the last episode that we had with all of our matchups, as well as the other episode for starters, streamers, and fades onto the screen right now. And hopefully that is helpful for you to get you all the things that you need this week. Make sure you throw that comment down below to ask any questions. So who you should start, who you should sit. Thanks for being a fan of the upside. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.